All right, race fans, Ryan Aho here, One to Go Show, going to be bringing you a lot more content in 2023. Bringing back the power rankings, we're actually going to bring that back not just for the top 5 classes, pure stocks, Hornets, Mod 4's, you name it. We're going to be talking all season long. We're going to be giving you recaps. We're going to maybe have some drivers on, maybe share a little bit what's going on in their season, and it's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I'm looking for an avenue here for the drivers in the grassroots classes to start with. That's what this show is all about, is Hornets, pure stocks, maybe not even Wissota. There's tracks like Viking Speedway, Fergus Falls that have short trackers, maybe the non-sanctioned ones too, because those grassroots, them beginner classes, those drivers need some love. I promise you, the Mod 4's, they need some love too. In fact, man, I tell you what, they've been racing a lot already. A little bit of controversy there, but all in good fun. So what we're going to do here, we're going to have an episode right this week for all the classes. Today on this show is going to be pure stocks, Hornets, Mod 4's, and we're going to showcase the 2022 champions. And I remember back in the day, I mean, winning a track championship was a huge deal, and it still is, but it's just not talked about enough. And tip of the cap to the folks at the Granite City Motor Park there, because they understand full well how important it is to have that culture at your racetrack, racing there weekly for a championship, and they up the ante in a lot of classes. So that's pretty cool. Pay attention to that. If you're in that area, you're going to want to get there. So let's start, let's start with the Hornets here. We're going to take a look at the track champions here and the national champions, a little bit of stuff in Wissota from 2022, kind of a little bit of a look back. And I talked to a few of these drivers about what their plans are for the upcoming season. Let's just say that some of these drivers not going to be in the classes they were in last year. We'll talk about that. Maybe I haven't talked to everybody, so I don't have all the info quite yet, but I'm hoping to real soon. So let's head up to the home of the Chicken Shack, Bemidji Speedway up in the northwest part of Minnesota. Travis Olofsson, former national champion in the Hornet. He won the track championship this last year up in Bemidji. 6 wins, all at Bemidji. Little bit of controversy at the end of the year. He made the decision he's going to run all non-sanctioned stuff this year. So looks like there's going to be a new track champion in the Hornet division at the Bemidji Speedway. Now let's head down to the Fiesta City Speedway in Montevideo and the Madison Speedway over in Madison, 2 tracks that I really enjoy being at. Madison Speedway, of course, home of Sundrop down there. I know when I was down there last time, they threw some in my truck. That was pretty cool of them. But Adam Vandersteen, what a season he had last year. 18 wins in all, 6 wins at Monty, 4 over at Madison. And I talked to him, he says, maybe this year, right? Maybe I won't wreck a car and have to borrow one all season long, but it looks like he's about ready to go. And going to take a look over to the series championships here, because Adam was also the state champion. I guess it would have been the state champion in South Dakota. So the state champion, I don't know how many races they had over there. I know he ran over at the Casino Speedway. Let me take a look down here. I don't feel like that was maybe Wissota points all year long, but yeah, the state champion over at the state of South Dakota, I guess would have been the Casino Speedway as well. Grand Rapids Speedway up in northern Minnesota. We got a young driver, second generation guy here. He is looking, he's hungry. He's flat out made the decision that he's going to chase after a national championship. Super excited to see him and many others following that. But Justin Barstas, not only is he going to chase after that, but he's also going to run a pure stock this year. So a little double duty action there for the 47J. 13 wins on the season last year, 4 of them coming over at the Grand Rapids Speedway. And we'll take a look over here. Justin Barsness, state champion in Minnesota last year. Heck of a season last year. He won some pretty big shows. We're going to talk about some of the specials in all these classes next week, right? We're going to talk about points this week, specials next week, and a lot of racing happening this coming weekend as well. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Now let's jump over to the Granite City Motor Park. Of course, I talked about them already. And the KRA Speedway in Wilmer, Justin Shalitsky. What a season he had last year. Justin, right here, 18 wins on the season for him, 5 of them coming at Granite City, 1 of them coming over at the KRA Speedway. Of course, Justin also won the Wissota Hornet National Championship in 2022. Tip of the cap to him. Hell of a good season. Had a chance to talk to him just a little bit. And I said, what are the plans? He goes, I'm going to run Hornets, but some other sanctions as well. But also, he also runs in like some big enduro type stuff and sent me some videos. Pretty cool. A lot of money on the line. He says, not like the enduros where you're destroying each other out there, but 300 lap enduros where you can actually run the same car over and over. So he's a versatile driver. A heck of a season last year. Looking for him to have a great season again in 2023. Now, let's jump over to the Halberline Speedway over in Proctor. I'm in my Halberline studio right now. I'm in a truck over. I'm actually taking a little bit of break to do these shows, bring you a little bit of racing content. But over at the Halberline Speedway, AJ House, he took the 14A, 6 wins in Proctor, 10 on the year last year. Excellent season for AJ House. I'm going to look at the series here. Don't see anything on the series, but AJ House, a driver that he's been running a couple of years now in the Hornet division, and it's been great for him. He's really been good. I don't know if Nate House, you have to check into that. I don't know if that's a brother or how that all works, but there's a couple of them in the Hornet division looking for them to have a great season again in 2023. Now, a little bit of news for you Hibbing drivers. Hibbing, Minnesota, Hibbing Raceway, my old stomping grounds. I lived about 10 minutes from there. But Michael Egan, unbelievable season up there last year. He had the 11E. He won 8 of 11 at the Hibbing Raceway, 2 seconds, 1/3. That's all he ran. He ran Hibbing every single week, every night. That's the only track he raced. All 11 nights on the podium. And just a great season there for Michael Egan. I talked to him. I said, what are the plans? What are you going to be doing here in 2023? You going to go back-to-back on the championships? He goes, I'm going to be out on a boat. He goes, I'm taking the year off, and I'm going to go out and have some fun. And got a little stressful last year. I enjoy it, but I'm going to go do some other things. I don't know, man. I heard the rumors that if you take too much time off, you might not come back. So don't take too much time off. He had a great season. He's a great asset to the racetrack, owns a business in the community. So looking forward to seeing if he makes a return in 2024. But congratulations on a great 2022 season. Now, let's head down to the big Ogilvie Raceway. Of course, they are opening up this weekend down in Ogilvie. Excited for that. There's several tracks opening. But Marcus Ammerman, he took the championship. And I've won a couple championships this way. No wins on the year. He had 1 win, but not at Ogilvie. And he actually won the championship. And he's like, man, I would trade winning for championship all day long. I've been there. I had a couple championships in the modified division where I didn't win any features all year at that track. Had a bunch of seconds, thirds. And hey, sometimes that's what it is. Might have to get him a bridesmaid dress. I'm just saying, we might have to have a little fun with that. But Marcus is going to jump up into the street stock division for 2023. Good luck to you. Congratulations on a great 2022. Now, let's head to Wisconsin. A little bit of drama. I don't want to say drama necessarily, but some news. Some news over in Wisconsin. So DJ Jarecki from Ashland, he actually won the track championship at both the ABC Raceway in Ashland and at the Gondik Law Speedway in Superior, Wisconsin, 2 tracks I'm very familiar with. He won 8 of 10 in Ashland, pretty much dominated over there. Car count was really light. We'll get to that in a second. And then he had 4 wins over at the Gondik Law Speedway. Said he's not racing this year, taking the year off. The reason being the ABC Raceway in Ashland dropped the Hornets. Unfortunate. And I understand why, kind of, right? They lacking car counts. And it's one of those deals where the starter class, if you don't have enough youth in the grandstands, right? If you're not trying to get more people there, not that they're not, I'm not saying that, but if you're not actively like filling the grandstands with people that can be in these starter classes, you're not going to have interest in the starter class when you have one. So they actually dropped the Hornets here for 2023. Maybe they'll be back in 2024. But because of that, he's like, I can't justify having a Hornet to where I can't race at home and I got to drive to Superior every week. Unfortunate deal because Jarecki had a great season last year. And I guess maybe if there's enough interest up there in Ashland, maybe they'll bring him back in 24. So drivers, if you're interested in being in a Hornet and you live around the Ashland area, get a hold of the crew over at the ABC Raceway. Maybe if there's enough interest, they'll bring that class back. They definitely need to have a starter class. Now we got a couple non-sanctioned classes as well. So I don't know, we call them Hornets or mini stocks or whatever we call them, but over at the Eagle Valley Speedway, Jim Falls, Wisconsin, Jerry's World over there, just by Chippewa, Jason Helgeson, he won the track championship last year, 5 wins on the year, Midwest Mod in 2023, making the jump. So there's going to be a new champion in that division over at Jim Falls. Good luck to Jason on that. Look forward to see how that can transfer from winning in a Hornet to winning in a Midwest Mod. There's some pretty good hot rods over there, and I'm pretty sure if you can win in one class, it'll translate over time in another one, so I hope it does. Red Cedar Speedway, Menominee, Wisconsin, of course, they're opening up this weekend, and the next weekend here, they're going to have the Randy Bus Icebreaker. They were going to have it this weekend, but with Mississippi Thunder having the Dairyland Showdown, they're not going to. But Preston Coombs, the track champion, another driver, no wins, a super consistent season from Boyceville, Wisconsin. He took the 15C, and he actually took home the championship over at the Red Cedar Speedway. So a couple more series champs. 2022 National Wissota Rookie of the Year. This driver got pretty darn quick at the end of the year last year. Carter Matthews from Clearbrook, Minnesota, made some trips. I was surprised. I saw him out at Watertown when I was out at the Autumn Classic out there. But that kid, second generation driver. Dad was a good driver. He's going to be hungry, and he's already progressed into winning races. And I think he's going to be a contender this year. Justin Barsness, you got company. This kid's going to be pretty fast, I promise. Now, Vandersteen, like I said, won South Dakota. Barsness, of course, the Minnesota State champ. Jarecki, Wisconsin. Only one track in the state of Wisconsin has Wissota Hornets. And hey, I like Wissota. Some people might think, oh man, he hates Wissota. No, I don't hate Wissota. I like Wissota. But some of the tracks have decided that, hey, we're going to take these starter classes and we're going to go with track rules. I don't have a problem with that, right? I did not talk about Fergus. I did not talk about Viking. I didn't talk about some of these tracks. I'm gonna this year. I'm going to pay attention to that, because just because your Hornet division is not sanctioned by Wissota doesn't mean you shouldn't be talked about. So I didn't get all the information for the champions for them divisions last year, but I promise you, I'll be giving you all some love here in 2023. Good luck to everybody. So let's jump on over. Let's go to the next class here. Let's go to the Wissota Pure Stock division, and we'll talk about some track champions and some national, state champions, and so on. We'll start with the state of Minnesota. Bemidji Speedway, go back to the home of the Chicken Shack up there. If you know, you know, right? If you've been to Bemidji, right, they got the Chicken Shack. It's famous for that. And if you haven't been there, you need to get there and check it out. You go for the chicken, stay for the racing. Austin Carlson, third generation driver. He actually from Cohasset, just on the west side of Grand Rapids, won the track championship over in Bemidji last year. He had 4 wins there. Solid year over there, and 5 on the year. He won one. He snagged one there. I believe it was in Grand Rapids. I think he took one there from Chad Finkbone, who's moving up. We'll talk about him in just a second. But with him moving up, Austin Carlson could be poised to win a bunch of races this year. Keep an eye on that 57. Now let's go to the Grand Rapids Speedway and the Hibbing Raceway. Like I said, a couple of my home tracks. Chad Finkbone, another second generation guy. He's won in everything. Streeters, Supers, was in the Pure Stocks here the last couple of years. 8 wins at Grand Rapids, 6 wins at Hibbing, 15 on the year. I don't know where my math comes up here. He must have had one. I think he maybe won one in Proctor or Superior. I think he went down there. So 15 wins on the year. I'm looking, I'm like 8 and 6. I don't really think that's 15, but maybe that's Chisholm math. I don't know. I'm just a truck driver, so it just is what it is. But Chad Finkbone, of course, he won the national championship in 2021 in the Pure Stock division. Had a great season last year. His kid, Chasten, has transitioned into the Pure Stocks, and he looks like he's going to be a pretty good driver as well. But Chad sounds like he's done. Sounds like he's going to Brett Favre it, retire again for the 7th or 8th time. I'm not really sure. We might see him out there again. Who knows? But here's the deal. With Chad Finkbone not being in the Pure Stock division at those 2 tracks, that opens the door wide open, right? Because he flat out dominated those 2 racetracks. It is going to be super fun watching that Pure Stock division. I guess not in Hibbing. My bad. I'm looking at it. Hibbing actually dropped the Pure Stocks, which kind of sucks. Kind of the same deal as Ashland. And I get it, cars are getting hard to come by. But with him moving out, that opens the door in Rapids. And if there's enough interest in Hibbing, enough cars, maybe they'll get the class back. Maybe the writing's on the wall. Maybe it's done. I guess we'll find out. But Finkbone moving up, and we'll see who can kind of take over the torch. Maybe Austin Carlson. Maybe his kid Chaston. Maybe it's going to be Josh Berg from over in Bemidji. That kid won a pile of races last year, had a great season. It's going to be super fun to watch that. Now let's go over to the Greenbush Race Park, Greenbush, Minnesota. Derek Waleski. I think I'm saying that right. If I'm not, correct me on that. But he took the 39. Another one of those drivers. No wins. Super consistent, though. Locked up a track championship. And same thing with him. I talked to him. He's like, I would trade wins for, like, I don't need the championship. I want to win. Well, guess what? It'll come. Stay consistent. It'll come. It's a Pure Stock. You got a bumper. Use it. If you're running second, throw a little hip check in, do it, do whatever you got to do. And just, it's easier to ask for forgiveness, than permission. So you do what you got to do. You're looking for that first win. You might have to get a little physical out there. I guess we'll find out. But he said that I really want to do better in Bemidji. That's his hometown. He said that he didn't quite have as good of runs in Bemidji as Greenbush. So good luck to you in 2023. Now, let's head down to let's talk about the national champ here, Corey Jorgensen. Corey Jorgensen, track champion at the Halberline Speedway, the ABC Raceway in Ashland, the Gondik Speedway in Superior. So he kind of dominated in that area. We'll jump on over to the state championships. He won the Wisconsin State Championship. Chad Finkbone incidentally won Minnesota, obviously, right? And Corey Jorgensen won the national championship in the Pure Stock division. 18-point wins on the season. He's moving up. Midwest Mod. So, in my opinion, the number 1 and number 2 driver in the Pure Stock division are gone. So what does that mean? The door is wide open for somebody. So he's moving up into a Midwest Mod. Now, Corey is a guy that's raced everything. He's ran Midwest Mods, Supers, Pure Stocks, late models, right? He's won in everything he's been in too. And I asked him a while back, I'm like, why a Pure Stock? He goes, it's way cheaper. Folks, understand this. If you're in a Hornet, you're in a Pure Stock, and your buddy's going, oh man, you need to jump up into a modified or a late model. Ask them to hand you their checkbook and you can move up. I promise you, it's just as much fun racing in a Pure or a Hornet than it is a late model. It might be a new challenge. There's kind of some status there, but guess what? It's just as fun. And you talk to drivers from Hibbing, where I'm from. I remember back in the day, the best race of the night every single night was the Pure Stock feature. It didn't matter what class you were in. You were jumping up on the trailer, watching the Pure Stock divisions. So you don't have to move up. He decided he wanted to. He's getting a little grief. He said he had the cash flow to do it. So Midwest Mod, good luck, Corey Jorgensen. Now, let's jump back over to some tracks here. Let's go down to the Eagle Valley Speedway in Jim Falls. Travis Hazelton, of course, everybody knows the Hazelton family. Tragedy struck here just a few weeks back. So, thoughts and prayers still go to the Hazeltons. But Travis, 6 wins, 11 total on the year. Track champion last year in Jim Falls. Talked to him. He says everything's kind of up in the air. Not 100% sure. Kind of planning on probably doing the same thing. Incidentally, Jim Falls sanctioned the Pure Stocks. So the Pure Stocks now are going to be Wissota Pure Stocks. So you have a driver that won at Rice Lake. Now you're probably going to see him racing over at the Eagle Valley Speedway. So kind of a cool thing over there for some drivers to maybe be able to be in the conversation for a national championship at the end of the year. And the one I talked about who's excited about that was the track champion at the Rice Lake Speedway in Rice Lake, Wisconsin. That's Ryan Olson, another second generation driver, good race car driver. I've watched a few of his races. 4 wins over at Rice Lake, 8 on the year. And he said, man, with a couple drivers moving out, with me having another track, I'm going to race hard. I'm going to do everything I can to put myself in position to win a national championship. Good. It got the right name already. I mean, it's Ryan. I mean, it got to be a fan. Got to like the guy. Got it, right? So Ryan Olson looking to get her done. Good luck to you. Now let's head up north of the border. They kind of have their own, I think that they're still Wissota pure stocks, but they kind of fall under the northern region, so to speak. And the driver that dominated up there, Alex, I believe Mira. If it's Myra, let me know, right? I want to make sure I get it right because this cat won a pile of races last year, probably going to do the same. But he was a Northern Region champion as well as the track champion at the Victory Lane Speedway up in Winnipeg, Manitoba, and the Lake of the Woods Speedway over in Kenora, Ontario. That track new here a couple of years ago. Anthony Leake, the new promoter up there, went out on a limb, said, I love racing. I live up here. I'm going to build a track. And everybody looked at him and said, dude, you are flat out of your mind. But guess what? It paid off. I saw some pretty good races. They were actually streamed last year. It's kind of fun to head up there and kind of check the place out. But Alex Mira, 11 wins between the two tracks, 6 at Winnipeg, 5 at Kenora, looking to go back-to-back at both of them here in 2023. Now, let's jump over one more class in this show. Let's head over to the Mighty Mod 4 division here. We'll talk track champions from last year. Got some race results as well. There's already been 4 races in the books in the 2023 Wissota season. I mean, you had to go out west. Who would have thought that you would have had to go all the way to Wyoming and Montana, right, for the season to start in Wissota? But that's who started first this year. But let's start with last year's track champions. Black Hills Speedway over in Rapid City, South Dakota. Tristan Torres, he actually took home the champion, 4 wins. He also won 4 over at the Bandit Speedway, which is in Box Elder, South Dakota, kind of out by Rapid City, non-sanctioned deal, 8 wins. So I didn't get a chance to talk to him to figure out what the plans are for this year, kind of thinking it's probably going to be the same, but good luck to Tristan in 2023. Now let's head out to the state of Wyoming. Casper Speedway, Gillette Thunder Speedway in Sheridan. Let's start, of course, first with the Casper Speedway, Casper, Wyoming. Glenn Asmus got it done. The 88 car, he had 1 win on the year. Did not get a chance. I think his plans are kind of the same here for 2023, but looking to go back-to-back out in Casper. They already got 2 races in, right? Unbelievable. They got 2 races in April, and I don't know if he was at either one. They had pretty light car count. I don't think a lot of people were ready, but we'll talk more about that in just a little bit. Now, let's go to the Gillette Thunder Speedway, Gillette, Wyoming. I got to get there. I've heard a lot about this place. There's some really, really good race car drivers out there. Hayden Minshew. I'm going to say Minshew. If it's wrong, let me know. I want to get it right. Okay, so Hayden Minshew, number 16. He had 1 win, taking the year off. Said he's going to take the year off this year. Said he's got to do some adulting. He's going to get a house. He's got some stuff going on. I'm like, nobody likes a quitter. He goes, didn't I hear you quit? I'm like, well, they didn't like me to begin with. So, I mean, it is what it is. But Hayden, it'd be great to see you back in the car. Hopefully this little bit of time off doesn't become extended time off. But congratulations on the championship in 2022. And then let's go down to the Sheridan Speedway. And I talked to some people, and they said they mentioned this guy. I talked to some Mod 4 drivers. They said there's some pretty good racers out there, and they specifically mentioned Tyler Sikenga. I think that's how you say it. Sikenga. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know the proper pronunciation of that. So he's actually had 2 wins at Sheridan, 5 on the year last year, won the track championship out there, looking to go back-to-back here in 2023. So I'm kind of jealous. They got some racing in out there. We didn't get much racing in our neck of the woods. There's a little bit in Illinois where I live now. Now let's head over to Minnesota, home of the Chicken Shack again, Bemidji Speedway, Bemidji, Minnesota. Skylar Smith getting it done. They had the Mr. and Mrs. cars out there, him and his wife both racing last year. They did not kill each other, so that is good. But he had 6 wins in Bemidji, 12 total on the year. I said, what are the plans? He raced Midwest Mods, had some championships in that, moved to the Mod 4's. Now he's moving to an A mod, and looks like it's kind of an IMCA car. Looks like he bought it from Matt's Barbie. Going to run that a little bit as it is with the crate in it. Might transition into a spec motor or concept or whatever. But Skylar Smith, I mean, he's won in Mod 4's. He's won in Midwest Mods. Now it's time to see if he can take that big mod, park it in Victory Lane. Skylar, good luck to you. Now, let's go down to the Granite City Motor Park. And I'm going to jump over here, and I am correct. So the Granite City Motor Park was the home track to the national champion. We'll talk more about that in just a second here. But Dustin Holtquist taking the track champion, no wins. Get that. I looked at it, and I don't know if this is a typo. I'm going off my race pass. National champion in 2023, won the track championship, bridesmaid award over. Speaking of bridesmaid, I gave Skylar Smith a dress to wear when he had a bunch of seconds. He won the track championship in Grand Rapids in a Midwest mod. I was doing the banquet. I said, I ain't done with you yet. We got some pretty good pictures of him wearing a bridesmaid dress. That was pretty fun. But man, Dustin Holtquist, no wins at Granite City. Come on, guy. What are you doing, man? Like, what are we talking about here? So 18 wins on the year, but this cat here, national champion last year in the Midwest Modified Division. Got a little company this year. Over on Dean Larson, 4 for 4 to start the season. We'll talk about that in a second. Holtquist also the state champion in the state of Minnesota. So we'll jump over. Let's go to the KRA Speedway, Wilmer, Minnesota, and the Ogilvy Raceway in Ogilvy, Minnesota. Tyler Larson, Dean's kid. He took the 7L, won the track championship at both. 4 wins over at KRA, 1 win over at Ogilvy. He won by 1 point over Dad. 1 point over Dad. I got to be honest with you. I don't know how Dad feels about that. Dad's a pretty competitive guy, right? And one hand, you got Dad going, man, that's cool. My kid won the championship. On the other hand, he's like, I'm going to beat that little shit because, like, he beat me by 1, and I don't know how that goes, right? I don't know if he's grounded. Too old to be grounded. But that's kind of a pretty fun story. 1 point he beat old Dad by to win the track championship. Pretty cool deal. And he did get a win over at Ogilvy as well. North Central Speedway over in Brainerd. And here's another guy. I saw you even made a comment, like nobody knows how to say my name. Gerald Nonner. I think it's Nonner, but I'm not positive. So I'm going to go Gerald Nonner. And if I'm wrong, let me know. N88. No wins. Another guy, no wins. Super consistent. And he did have 2 wins on the year, just not at the North Central Speedway in Brainerd. But congratulations to him on his track championship last year. And then Robert Holtquist, that would be, of course, the dad to Dustin Holtquist. And he got the track championship over at the Princeton Speedway in Princeton, Minnesota every Friday night. 2 wins, 11 wins on the year. Really good season. Beat his kid by 15 points over his kid. So kind of Sean, the kid got the national championship. He won the war at the end of it. But old Dad said, I'm going to take the track championship here. So pretty cool to see some father-son deal. There was a husband-wife deal out there. So family affair in the Mod 4 division. Let's check out a couple more series here. Wissota Rookie of the Year last year was Tyler Sakanga out from Gillette, Wyoming. So he was a National Rookie of the Year for Wissota. Dustin Holtquist, of course, he won the Natty and he won the Minnesota State Championship. Kristen Torres, South Dakota State Champion. And Brady Taylor won the state championship out in Wyoming. So pretty cool out there. And let's take a look. So week number 1, a couple weeks back already, Dean Larson, 700 miles, made the trip. He's retired. Now he can race. He just loves racing. Little shout out to him. He's a guy that for years responsible for getting a lot of drivers and people to donate bikes over at the KRA Speedway in Wilmer. So he does some pretty cool stuff out there. Really loves racing. But yeah, he made it out there. And light car count, super light car count, right? 3 cars, 2 of them finished. A win's a win. Ever since there was 2 cars, you put 2 cars side by side, they're going to race. They did. He won. Guess what? Still counts for points, right? So we'll talk about that. I talked about that on our main show here this week. Is a point structure flawed, right? Should a 3-car feature win carry as much weight as it does? Well, I don't think so, but guess what? It does, right? So don't hate the player, hate the game. So the Silver Bullet, week number 1, your first winner of the Mod 4 season. Week number 2, we went to Casper. And then they had the Spring Showdown, a doubleheader out at the Sheridan Speedway in Wyoming. And they had a few more cars in Sheridan, a couple more cars there in Casper as well. The old Silver Bullet himself, 4 for 4 to start the season. So pretty unbelievable that he got that done. Congratulations to him. But I'm going to take a look here, and we are going to go back to right here. And a little shout out to some sponsors. So I'm going to just talk about this first, right? So we'll talk about East Central Sports. I mean, Mac, of course, runs in the Hornet division, right? Loves racing, does a lot for the sport. Minnesota's #1 youth power sports dealer, right? Get a hold of them. Also, drivers, racers, you need a pit bike, right? You want to get to the pits, you park off in the back 40, you don't want to walk to the pit meeting. Careful though, if you don't walk to the pit meetings, you kind of get this going on and this going on a little bit. So careful with that a little bit. But if you want a pit bike, how about an SSR 125cc pit bike, right? He's got them in stock. He's got them there. I mean, one of the #1 dealers in the state of Minnesota for them. They got great service, and he's a racer, right? So why not get stuff from somebody in the racing community? This is the place to look first, East Central Sports. So shout out to them for coming on board, sponsoring the show. And another shout out, this is the time of year, right? You need apparel, you need hats, you need shirts, you need hoodies, jackets, whatever you need, for your race team, for your sponsors, whatever it is, buyraceshirts.com, right? For racers, by racers. Of course, Jordan Tollickson and the team, former national champion himself in the Wissota Street Stock division. But now he's racing in a late model at a high level, competing well, winning a bunch of races, him and his brother. But if you need that stuff, go to buyraceshirts.com. They got great pricing. They have a lot of different options out there, big quantities, small quantities. They do great work, and a lot of the top racers in Wissota get their stuff from buyraceshirts.com. So that's going to kind of be a little bit of a wrap on the show. Next week, we're going to talk about a couple different things, right? We're going to talk about the invitationals, right? There's a lot of special events over the 2022 season that, not everybody races for points. Some people like, hey, I'm just going to race after the bigger shows. That's okay, right? You can do that too. But I wanted an opportunity here to give a shout out to the track champions from 2022, national champions, state champions, and so on. And good luck to everybody here in 2023. But we're also going to talk next week about some of them bigger races that drivers won, because some of the best racers around never win a track championship ever, right? But they win some big races. Now, you can trade it off. Some people would be, I'd rather win big races than a championship. Some people would be like, I'd rather win championships than a big race. Some people want to win both, right? The fact is, you got to do what works for you. But like they say over at the Granite City Motor Park, make track championships great again. Again, another shout out to them guys over in Sauk Rapids, Minnesota. So thanks for tuning in. You can catch us every single week on our YouTube channel for the One to Go show, and on Facebook. Hopefully you enjoy the content. If you ever have something that you want talked about that relates to one of these three classes, let me know. If you have questions that you'd like to kind of throw out there, let me know. We're going to have some fun content over the year, a lot of recap stuff. And then we're going to bring the power rankings. We're going to get a few races in the books first, but we're going to have a top 10 buyraceshirts.com power rankings every week for each of these three classes once things get rolling. So keep an eye on that. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you next week.